Hi, I'm Katie, a manifestation expert who's helped people all over the world attract love and manifest the greatest relationships of their lives. Each week, I share the real secrets to manifesting love and creating a better dating life, so you can finally be done with exes, ghosters, commitment phobes, and all the other lovely walking red flags, and finally manifest your person. I'll also be answering all your manifesting questions and unpacking what's hitting the headlines when it comes to dating, love, and relationships. This is That Manifesting Podcast. Welcome back to That Manifesting Podcast. It has been a minute since I've been chattering away in your ear holes, but I'm back. I've had an extended break away for a very good reason. You may have noticed that the intro of the show is very different, and that's because after a lot of self-reflection, I've decided that the direction I want to go with for the podcast and for my manifesting, coaching and mentoring business is to only focus on love and dating, because honestly, it's what I love helping people with the most. It really lights me up to see people leave their past behind and get over their exes and stop calling in walking red flags and commitment phobes, and finally start to manifest the dating life that they really want and that makes them feel happy, rather than constantly looking at their phone, wondering when they're going to get a text back. So that's the direction I've decided to go in. Now, whilst I've been away, I've been focusing on building out the latest version of my program called Create Love, which is very exciting because it takes you step by step through everything that I work through with my one-to-one clients. So it literally takes you from heartbroken, lonely, feeling all of those crappy emotions that can come up, through to dating confidently, happily, calling in the right people and manifesting your person. Now, I've got someone that's only gone through one module so far, and they've already started manifesting amazing dates when they haven't had any sort of dating life for years. So this stuff really, really works. If you do want any more details on Create Love, just click the link in the show notes and you can read all about it. Now, as podcast lovers, you also might like to know that I've created a secret podcast series, and this is really to help you see and know about a big subconscious mistake that comes up when you're trying to manifest love, and most people don't even know that they're making this mistake. Again, if you want to listen to the free secret podcast series, the link is in the show notes, so you can go get that, listen to it, and let me know what you think. So when it comes to the podcast, this normal podcast, things are changing, which is very exciting because it's going to be a great new format. I don't really want every episode to just be like one long lesson, because let's face it, I don't enjoy being the teacher all the time. And even when people work with me, it's not like that. We have fun. We talk about anything and everything, as well as doing the hard work, the tough learning, and getting manifesting on track. So there will still be valuable learning for you in every episode, like I've always done. Today's learning segment is all about dealing with ghosting, but I'm just going to add some more fun stuff, because I know when I listen to podcasts, I do like a bit of that light and shade where you can learn something, but you also have a bit of a laugh along the way. Now, I am going to aim for an episode every fortnight, but if I can, I'll record additional episodes. So, with all of that being said, let's get into the first segment, which is your messages and your questions. Okay, so all of the messages and questions that I had up to now, most of them were sort of generic manifesting questions. So for the next episodes, please send me your questions. Anything about manifesting love and dating. Do you want help getting over an ex? Do you want to know how to stop manifesting a certain walking red flag? What is it that you need help with? Send your questions in to me, and in this segment, I'll be covering any that I get each week. and tell me how your dates are going. Have you had any funny dates, any awful dates, your experiences? Because let's face it, I just want to know the gossip of what's going on or what's not going on in your love lives. And I'll share all of that good stuff in future episodes. You can get in touch with me by either texting in, there's a link in the show notes, or you can send me a DM on social media. You'll find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and my name on all of the platforms is The Manifesting Mindset. Let's get into the next new segment, which is all about love and dating in the wild. This new segment is really about what's going on in the wild with love and dating. I'm not talking about animals, I'm talking about real life humans, maybe celebrities at times, but what's happening in the world of love and dating. To start things off, and to keep with the theme of today's ghosting episode, I found a news article which was super interesting, and it was called, "Is It Ever Okay to Ghost Someone?" Now, I don't know what you think about this, but I don't think ghosting is a black and white issue. I think that there's quite a grey area to it. In this article that I read, the experts that they spoke to said it was not okay to ghost in pretty much every scenario, unless it was because of safety or protecting your mental health, which I think is a pretty obvious stance to take. Now, I think, this is just my take on it, that it's okay to ghost if the person that you've been chatting to is a bit of a yo-yo. So one minute you hear from them, then you don't. Then maybe they get in touch with you 6 months later. You know that saying, what doesn't kill you texts you 6 months later to ask how you are. I think in that scenario, it's actually okay to ghost because let's face it, the people that are doing that are treating you like dog shit. And when you're trying to manifest something better in your life, why would you stand for that as a standard in your life? If you want to ghost that sort of person, ghost them. But that being said, I don't think it's okay to ghost when you're just not interested in it anymore, and maybe someone's been quite decent to you and you've just decided that you don't want to have that awkward conversation. I do think that that's quite a cruel thing to do. What do you think? Let me know. I hate to admit it, but I have been a ghoster, and a pretty ghosty ghoster at that. I used to do it a lot if I received a lot of pervy, yucky, icky messages. You know the guys that you're messaging on dating sites, you're having a really nice conversation, and then all of a sudden they ask you if they can smell your knickers or something. That's really gross. It was the first thing that came to mind. I ghost people like that. And I think that's okay because, hello, don't be so rude. There's a time and a place for wanting to sniff knickers. And when I'm talking about my day at work, that is not the time, Romeo. The other time that I would ghost a lot, I don't do this now, by the way, but the other time I would ghost a lot is after a spell of drunk texting. I used to have a lot of numbers in my phone, and being single, when I would go out, if I didn't meet anyone to have a little bit of a flirt with, I would turn to my trusty phone. I should have been banned from using it. And I would just start firing off text messages, you know, like Oprah. You get a text and you get a text and you get a text. I would literally just fire out all of these drunk texts and then pass out, usually with my burger stuck to my face or something. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd have the fear, you know, that fear after a night out when you think, oh my God, what have I done? You dread looking at your phone. And I would look at my messages and it would be like, ping, 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 booty call, booty call, booty call. Thankfully, I'd passed out by the time they replied, but I would just ghost those people. Well, until the next time I got drunk. Now, I don't think that that's great behaviour, but to be fair, I wasn't getting proposals or anything back that were actually gentlemanly proposals. I think we all knew what was happening there. So maybe in that scenario, ghosting was okay. I'd love to know from you, what's your stance on ghosting? Is it ever okay? Have you ghosted people? Okay, let's get into the next segment, and you are going to like this one. Welcome to Ick of the Week. Now, I just love this. This idea started after a little chat with the girls. We were at an event and we were cracking up at each other's icks. Some of them were really weird. So one of the girls I was talking to said she doesn't like it when footballers score a goal and they do those silly little dances. You know, like I think it was Peter Crouch would pretend to be a robot or something. That for her is a huge ick. And another girl that I was with said that if a man runs up the stairs on all fours, you know what you used to do when you were a child? If she sees a man doing that, raging ick. So I really want to know yours because they just give me life. They crack me up. Have you got an ick that's particularly funny, or maybe it's a bit weird? Text in, let me know, because I'm going to share one every single week. I'll pick my favourite and I'll share it with you. But to get you started, I'm going to tell you a story about when I was the ick. Now, I always have to caveat these stories with saying that this was years ago, because obviously I'm way more sensible and much better at dating now. So years ago, I met this guy on a dating app and we'd been speaking for a while. He was lovely, like a really, really genuinely nice guy. And actually, we're still friends to this day. So he won't mind me telling you this story. He actually still takes the mickey out of me for this story. Anyway, we'd been chatting. He didn't live too far away, maybe like 45 minutes away, and we'd been chatting for ages, and we both decided that we wanted to meet up just to chat, no funny business. And he said to me, I'll come and see you this weekend. And I was like, oh, okay, yep, sounds good. But I started getting really nervous because at that time, that was just me. Anytime anyone showed me any interest, I'd start panicking that they weren't going to like me. I was going to mess it up, all the rubbish beliefs and stories that can come up. I was invited to go to a housewarming party that same weekend, that actually the day that I was going to meet him, with a girl that I worked with. So I thought, actually, that's good. Because I said to him, look, I'm going to swing by this housewarming party. Then I'm going to go home. Then you can come and see me. So that was the plan. I went to the party and I thought, I'm going to have a couple of glasses of wine just to loosen up, just to be more relaxed, so I can be my hilarious, confident self when I see him later. But I didn't stop at 2 wines. I probably stopped at 2 bottles of wine. And I was absolutely hammered. Literally hammered. Anyway, my friend who was driving said, look, we need to get you home because this guy's coming to see you and you look horrific. And I said, yeah, okay, sounds good. I'm going to go home, going to drink loads of water. By the time he comes round, I will be fine. I walked out of the party. I fell down a hill. Literally slipped over, rolled down a hill. She had to come and rescue me. I was covered in grass stains. My skirt was round my waist. I was covered in mud. My hair was everywhere. I had mascara running down my face because I was laughing so hard. She bundled me into the car, drove me home. I got out the car, fell up the driveway, and finally got into the house. And then I texted him. Now, I should have texted him and said, can we do this another time? But no. Drunk Katie said, hey, come on over, I'm home. Anyhow, I drank loads of water. I still felt absolutely pissed. I was so drunk still. He came over, first time I've ever met him. Didn't really do a lot with my appearance, apart from pull my skirt down from round my waist. Still kind of weird hair, grass stains, slightly muddy. First time I've ever met him. I opened the door and I was all like, hey, hi, come on in. And in he came. I was still very drunk. We sat down, we started chatting. We were having a really nice conversation. Well, I say a nice conversation. I actually can't remember what we spoke about. I'm going to assume it was a nice conversation. And I said to him, "Would you like a drink?" He said, "Yes, please." So I got up, stood up too quickly, and fell into my fire. Luckily, the fire wasn't on, but yes, I fell into the fire. He laughed, I laughed, whilst I was also feeling really horrific and embarrassed. But I got up, I went, got him a drink, came back, sat down. We were sitting talking. And then all of a sudden I thought, oh no, I'm going to be sick. And I thought, this is not the time, but I am going to be sick. So I just said to him, I just need to excuse myself and go to the toilet. I'm not going to tell him that I'm going to throw up, am I? So I went running up the stairs, went to the bathroom, stood over the toilet, and nothing. The feeling just disappeared. And I thought, oh, okay. It was obviously just a passing wave of nausea. So I went back downstairs. We started talking again. Literally within 30 seconds, I felt that wave again. I thought, oh no, I am going to be sick. So I excused myself again. And he was like, "Are you okay?" I said, yeah, I'm fine. I've just drank too much water. I ran upstairs, again, stood looking over the toilet. Nothing. Did not throw up. It passed. And I thought, this is really annoying now. Went back downstairs. This happened 2 more times within the space of 5 minutes. And neither time did I throw up. So I just thought, okay, it's not happening next time. I am not going to the toilet. So we carried on our conversation. I felt the wave of nausea again. And I thought, no. I'm not running upstairs again because I'm looking like an idiot now. As if I wasn't looking like an idiot already. And then I was sick. But being the lady I am, I didn't open my mouth. I was just sick in my mouth, right in front of his face, and I just swallowed it. I made this really weird noise. I couldn't even recreate it if I tried. But he looked at me and he said, "Were you just sick in your mouth?" And I said, "No." And he said, "It sounded like you were." And I said, "No, I was not. I have not. I've not been sick." And he left shortly after that. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. We are still friends though, and that story is hideous. But I'm the first to call myself out when I'm an ick. That was icky, ick. So tell me about yours. What are your icks? Hopefully they're not about yourself like mine was. But, that's out of the way now. We're getting to know each other more. So let's get into the learning element of today's episode. And what I want to talk to you about today is what the universe wants you to know if you've been ghosted yet again. So let's get into it. Okay, let's be honest. Being ghosted absolutely sucks balls. You're sitting there with your phone, you're rereading your last messages like there's some hidden mistake that you made, wondering, did I use too many emojis? Did they die? But oh no, they didn't die because they're online on WhatsApp. You can see their status and they're online. Maybe they're posting stories. They're living their best ghostly little life. And in that silence, all of the stuff in your head gets really, really loud. Was it me? Did I come on too strong, too soft? Should I have worn the other dress? Should I have waited longer to reply? Did I imagine the connection? And you can spend so much time analysing every little detail because you're sure that you had that spark. The chats flowed, the energy between you felt real, and maybe you finally let yourself believe that maybe this person is different from the rest. And then you wait. Sometimes you wait for hours. Sometimes it's days, weeks, and there's nothing. Just silence. No explanation, no goodbye. Just you wondering what the hell just happened and whether it was even real. But here's what I need you to know. Ghosting is not proof that you're unlovable or you're cocking up your dates. But there is something about being ghosted that the universe needs you to know. Now, ghosting feels painful for a number of reasons. But it's not just about this person disappearing. It's about what their absence echoes, because it taps into that heartbreak that you never really made sense of before. It taps into the fear that maybe love will always end like this. It taps into the feeling that just when it's going well, you know you're going to get left behind. Ghosting confirms the story that you didn't even realise you were still carrying. I'm the one people leave even when I do everything right. Ghosting doesn't just sting because they disappeared on you. It stings because it reopens all the wounds that you've never had answers for. And I know at that moment, it's tempting to spiral, to internalise it, to turn yourself inside out, looking for the reason that they stopped talking to you. But what if this isn't about your worth at all? I really need you to hear this. I have so many conversations with people that were ghosted, and it really, really messes them up. You weren't ghosted because you did something wrong, because your last message had too many kiss emojis, because you asked a vulnerable question, and definitely not because you're bad at dating. You were ghosted because whether you know it or not, a part of you still expects to be ghosted. Now stay with me. I know that sounds like I'm blaming you, but I promise you this is about taking your power back, not giving yourself another reason to beat yourself up. The universe is not punishing you. It's not sat there saying, oh, she looked too eager. Quick, off you go, Dan, run away. It's not playing games. It's holding up a mirror. It's showing you the parts of you that still deep down believe that love has to be difficult, that connection has to be earned, that you have to prove your worth to be chosen. And then with your whole big, beautiful heart, you go out there asking for a soulmate, someone who sees you, holds you, shows up for you. But then you just end up crying over Dan. Dan, whose dating profile says work hard, play harder, or whose idea of emotional intimacy is having sex more than once a week. This is not rejection, it's repetition. This is the same wound playing out over and over again until you choose something different. Because this isn't about him. This is about the energetic version of you that he was a match for. The version of you who still believes that love is about chasing, about waiting, about decoding texts like you're in some CIA bunker. The version of you who says, I want a deep, available, loving relationship, but still gets butterflies when Dan gives you just enough to keep you hooked before they disappear. So let's talk about power. Let's talk about where your power actually is and where you've been handing it over. Your power is not in sending the perfect message. It's not in waiting an exact number of hours to reply. It's not in choosing the dress that says, hey, fun but not desperate. It's in who you're being, because you're always manifesting, not just with your vision board or your journal or your new moon bath ritual, but with your energy. If you're walking around with the vibe of, I hope I get chosen, but I'm kind of braced to be left, guess what kind of people you attract? The ones who confirm the belief that you'll be left, because the universe can only mirror back what you subconsciously believe to be true. That is all you can manifest. You're swiping, you're hoping, you're showing up. But underneath, you're also bracing yourself. Bracing yourself to be ghosted again. Bracing yourself to hear that you're amazing, but I'm just not ready. Bracing to feel that familiar silence settle over your phone like a fog. And that's not because you're doing anything wrong. That's what happens when your past is still in the driver's seat. The old version of you is still there in your subconscious. The version of you that got hurt, rejected, abandoned, overlooked. And she still thinks she's in charge of keeping you safe today. She's doing what she knows how to do. She's preparing you for the pain. But what if you didn't need to be braced for that anymore? What if being ghosted wasn't a punishment, but a wake-up call? A wake-up call to notice the energy that you're unconsciously moving through the world with. Because the people you attract aren't always a match for what you want. They're a match for your self-perception. Whether you know that consciously or not, some level of you absolutely knows that. If you've still been believing deep down that you're the one who gets left, you're the person that gets ghosted, there's no decent people out there in the world, then guess what? The universe can only match you with those types of people. It's down to you to shift that story, because until you can do that, you can't step into the power that you have. A badass woman that can get any date she wants and does not put up with dusty little ghosters. Now, I know ghosting hurts. I've experienced it myself. It's horrible and it makes you feel like shit. Someone disappears with no explanation and you're just left there holding the emotional baggage like, wait, was that not real? Did I imagine that? It's tempting to take it personally, to think that you must have done something wrong or you must not be enough. But please do not let these emotionally stunted situationships rewrite your entire view of love. Don't let one dusty little ghoster make you shrink yourself just so that no one ever disappears again, because you're not here to earn love. You're here to receive it, to attract it, to call it in fully, freely and deeply. So instead of asking why they vanished, ask yourself this: what part of me were they reflecting back? What part of me still believes that love is conditional or inconsistent or just out of reach? Because that silence that you're sitting in is an invitation to shift, to heal, to rise, to become the version of you who expects love and won't settle for anything less, let alone ghoster bullshit. That version of you is already right there inside of you. You just have to choose to be her. So if you're experiencing ghosters, my invite to you is not to think about how you can make them come back to you, how you can make them reply to your text messages. It's about learning, stepping inside yourself and figuring out what part of you they're reflecting back. Why are they manifesting in your life over and over again? Because I can guarantee you there's some part of you that just needs a bit of healing, a bit of loving care. And then you can stop focusing your attention on these horrible little ghosters. So that's it from me for today. First episode in a long time. Let me know what you think. Let me know anything else you want me to cover. Any topics of learning that you want for this segment. You can text into the show or DM me on social media. So until next time, take good care of yourself and I will be back in your ear holes very, very soon.